Jack vs. the Space Empire of Continuum by Scott Rice. Part 8.
See, bro, I told you this trip was gonna be awesome.
He had his arm around Jen's shoulders. He pulled her close and kissed her passionately on the lips. Jen responded in kind. We all watched them in painful silence. Even Lucy felt the awkwardness. She looked away and shook her head. "Okay, well," said Dr. Bella, "human mating rituals aside, Andrew, I'll need you to stay here tonight so I can keep an eye on you. We have no idea what's happening to you or when it will happen again. If you are contacted once more, I want to take that opportunity to study the phenomenon further. The rest of you are cleared to leave. Jack?"
Yeah?
Jack clearly had a hard time disengaging from Jen's full lips. "You are free to leave as well, however," Jack moaned loudly at this, "however, Helen will stay in contact with your implant to ensure no complications. If you happen to incur abnormal symptoms, you are to report them to Helen immediately. Do you understand?"
Roger, roger, Dr. Hot Pants.
Jack looked to Jen.
"Although, I can't promise I'll get much sleep tonight."
Jen began to kiss Jack's neck.
"All right, all. Good luck, bro. I'll see you and your cooked noodle tomorrow. No more wigging out, dude, 'kay?"
Jack hopped off the gurney he and Jen were sitting on, easily picked her up, and walked out the door kissing her. Dr. Bella huffed and returned to her laboratory. Lucy was sitting nearby, beside my gurney. "You don't have to stay here. You can go. I'll be fine," I said to her. Honestly, I wanted her to go. Being around Lucy made me lose my concentration. I felt nervous, shaky. I truly wanted to be near her, but my stomach insisted on doing a series of flip-flops every time she was close. I couldn't stop looking at those wonderful eyes. The smell of her perfume drove me absolutely insane. Her porcelain skin, her pretty hair. Ugh, Lord, I had it bad. "It's okay, Andy, I don't mind," she said. I sat and stared into her eyes. The sparkle from the room lights made her look like she was a drawn anime character rather than a real person. She looked so small, so fragile. All I wanted to do was take her into my arms and just hold her. I really don't have anything else to do until morning anyway. I think I'll just sit here and watch over you for a while. Dr. Bella is doing that already. You really don't have to. Shit, I was starting to ramble again. Keep on point, Andrew. It's fine. I honestly don't mind. Lucy reached out and moved a lock of hair out of my face. I flinched. More from embarrassment than the surprise of her caring gesture. She stopped and removed her hand, obviously embarrassed. Fuck! I screwed up again. Damn! I didn't want her to stop. I wanted her to keep going. Her touch sent billions of amps through my skin. Oh, Lord. How do people get through this? I had no idea what the hell I was doing, and it showed. Now she thinks I'm a jerk. Just great. I wish for the millionth time I had Jack's ability and confidence with women. Being shy and awkward was terribly lonely. I'm glad you're staying, Lucy. I don't know anyone except for you and Jack. Thank you. My nervousness and shyness were showing once again. How could I want her to leave and stay at the same time? I think Jack was right. I must have cooked my brain. I wasn't making any sense at all. You're welcome, Andy. Try to get some sleep, okay? You've been through a lot tonight. You need rest. I'll stay here for a while before I go to bed myself. Her smile could melt steel. Yeah, I am pretty damn tired. I can't remember the last time I slept. I yawned wide and yawned again. I don't even know what day it is. Lucy smiled and said, "It's Monday morning. Now go to sleep. That's an order, mister." I laid back and placed my head on the pillow. Lucy helped me pull the single sheet up to my chin once I got comfortable. She then held my hand. "I'm glad we met, Andy. Damn, there goes that smile again. I know how butter in a microwave felt." "Me too. Thanks again. Sleep, Andy. Close your eyes and sleep. I'll make sure everything will be fine. Don't worry, hon." And I was gone. The next morning I was rudely awoken by none other than Jack himself. I was blissfully unaware, floating along in a warm slumber, when I heard Jack's voice cut across the vast chasm of dream world like a chainsaw. Dude! Wakey wakey, eggs and bakey, dude! Can you hear me? Don't turn your head away from me, that's rude. Oh, now you're rolling over? Dude, don't be like that. Come on, bruh." "Fine, you leave me no choice." I felt a cold, wet finger slip and twirl around in my left ear. I instantly opened my eyes and pushed Jack away from me. I sat up with my hand to my ear, which made my head spin like a top. Dude! The fuck, man? I went really? Seriously?
Sorry, bro. Had to get you up somehow, laughed Jack.
It's nasty, bro. Yuck!
Well, it worked, didn't it? We gotta go, bro. The puffin's loaded up, and we're gonna have to book it to get to her. Come on, let's go. Up and at 'em.
Jack began to pull in my arm, trying to pry me out of bed. I started to resist, then realized, much to my horror, that I was too weak to put up an effective defense. Oh, if I only had $1 for each time the bastard pulled me out of bed. That jackass never sleeps. Stop, Jack, stop, damn it, man. Quit pulling on me. I'm up, all right? Stop! Dude! You're gonna make me fall off the bed. Quit, damn it, dude, stop it! I was half out of bed with the sheet wrapped around my legs when Dr. Bella came into the room. I was as helpless as a rag doll. Jack, release him immediately. He's in no condition for shenanigans. The good doctor was not amused. She stood with her hands on her hips and a really disapproving glare on her face. You two had better behave. I'll have no horseplay in my hospital. She growled slightly under her breath.
Sorry, Doc, just trying to get the little gal out of bed here. Almost finished.
Jack gave one more heave and I went down. Jack, I'm awake, you mother... Let me go. I ended up sprawled out on the floor. Jack pulled me across the floor, a sheet dragging behind me like a wedding dress train. Dr. Bella had enough. She strode over to Jack and pinched his ear. She then reached down and pinched my ear, now slightly drier than before. She was surrounded by a crescendo of ow, 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 and sorry, what happened again, sorry, as she pulled us apart by the ears. I said, enough, Jack, get the hell out of here. You, Andrew, how do you feel? She barked at me. Everything seems fine except for my ear. Hurts a bit at the moment. I've checked your scans and there is nothing I can do for you right now. I see no reason why you can't go with the puffin. Now get the hell out, both of you. And don't let me catch you back here unless you're bleeding from a war wound, or missing a leg or something. Do I make myself clear? She was still holding on to our ears. Yes, crystal clear. Ouch, yes, I heard you. We're leaving. Do you have to pinch me so hard? Ow, what gives you the right? My ear will never be the same. I can feel it. Okay, you win, we're leaving. She finally released us. Jack and I tried very hard to piece together the tattered remains of our dignity. While I was getting dressed, I noticed something missing. Hey, where's Lucy? I asked. She's in the silver puffin with Jen and Kate Smile Cecil, shouted the doctor from the lab next door. They're preparing it for your journey. Go to them now, both of you, now! We did as she asked. I threw my tux on in record time. An angry 8-foot-tall Kensian will do that to you. I joined Jack in the hall outside of the med bay. Jack was rubbing his ear.
Fucking bitch, that really hurt.
Well, you wouldn't listen to her, or me for that matter. Stop means stop, Jack. Not pull like a gimp. Anyway, are we headed to the puffin? And where's my clothes? I can't wear this tux everywhere.
Yep, heading there now. How'd you sleep, by the way?
He asked. Fine, I guess, until you came along, that is. How did you and Jen sleep? I instantly regretted asking the question.
Sleep? What sleep, dude? Let me tell you, that girl may look all nice and wholesome on the outside, but get her naked on a bed and watch out. She's savage and relentless. I could hardly keep up. Seriously, me.
Jack rubbed his shoulder.
She pulled muscles I didn't even know I had. The flesh is weak, dude.
Sounds like fun, I said sarcastically.
Oh, it was. I wrecked her, dude. By the time I finished,
knowing Jack as well as I do, I had a good idea of where that sentence was going to go, and it wasn't pretty, so I stopped him there. Sounds like you two were made for each other, was all I said.
Maybe, I feel.
Jack looked far away for a moment.
I feel like something happening inside, you know? My gut is all twirling when I think about her. I get a hard-on the likes of which God's never seen. It's really weird.
You're in love, dude.
What? No way, bro, not me.
Whatever, everyone can see it. Something in the environment was wrong. I couldn't quite place it, but something was definitely wrong.
Pfft. You couldn't be more wrong, bruh. I'm not the in-love type.
I looked at Jack and smiled. You're in love.
Shut up, dude.
Jen and Jack sitting in the tree, Kissing.
Seriously, shut up, dude.
First came love, then came marriage, then came Jack with a baby carriage.
Shut up, dude.
Jack was clearly getting angry now. I thrilled at the thought of doing to Jack what he always did to me. This opportunity didn't come often. I planned on taking full advantage of it. So when's the wedding? Have you two set a date yet? I smiled wide at Jack as I said this.
You know what? Go screw yourself with a cucumber.
Got any names picked out for your first kid? Could be a complicated process. Best if you and Jen take your time. Once you name it, it's forever, you know? Can't do backsies once it knows its name.
I swear to God, dude, shut up, or else I'm gonna kick your ass, seriously.
Can I be your best man? I've always wanted to be a best man. Ugh. What the fuck is that smell?
Oh, that? That's Harry's ass emissions from last night. That stuff sure can linger hard. Wish I could say you get used to it, but...
Truly, the smell was absolutely terrible. It was beyond what mere words could possibly describe. It wouldn't allow you to ignore it, no matter how hard you tried. The terrible was spectacular. No wonder everyone evacuated in abject fear last night. I now see why. Ugh, dude, it's putrid. I can taste it. I can actually taste it. Oh, God. I'm losing the vision in my left eye. I almost panicked.
Yeah, I know, half the place has been evacuated by now. Seems the smell is going room to room. Didn't smell when I came through here a while ago. That's some powerful stuff.
How can Harry produce such evil? What happened to him?
I asked. Harry is a special case, anti-human. What, Isaac? Is that you? I was stunned. I could clearly hear his voice, but where did it come from? Were there speakers mounted in the halls? I couldn't see any. It was weird. I could hear his voice, but there were no echoes. It was rather ghostly. Indeed, anti-human, I'm speaking to you through your new implant. How are you feeling today? Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Who are you talking to? Asked Jack as he looked around us.
So it works. Awesome, I said in wonderment.
Seriously, who are you talking to, bro?
Great, said Isaac. To answer your earlier question, Harry is a special case. He has developed a peculiar protein within his stomach acids. It is unique. When alcohol comes into contact with this protein, a chemical reaction occurs, and a new compound is created. This compound then reacts with the bacteria living within his gut, and this smell is the result. Many don't seem to be able to stomach it. Dude, it could be used as a weapon of mass destruction. It's horrific. I was close to gagging.
Am I missing something? Asked Jack.
His head was swiveling back and forth.
Who are you talking to? You've gone crazy. I knew it was bound to happen sometime.
Hush, dude. I'm talking to Isaac.
Oh, your implant. Got it. Can you at least let me know if you're talking to me or someone else in your head? I can't tell out here.
I have taken the liberty to assign transport to the Puffin for you and Jack, human. It is parked and waiting for you outside in the Sallyport. Oh, well, thank you, I guess. Where is the Sallyport? I asked. Your implant is blocked from any visual input until Dr. Bella is assured of your mental stability. You will not be able to see visual cues. I am feeding Jack Human the directions as we speak.
What is this? Cool, said Jack.
He was waving his hands before his face as if he was reaching out, trying to touch something that wasn't there. Indeed, Jack Human, please follow the green arrows. They will guide you to your transport.
Sure. This thing is epic, dude. I love it. It's like a smartphone inside your head. Except you don't need fingers to use it. You think it and boom! I could bang a girl and work in my term paper at the same time.
I was a poet, dude, I answered. Honestly, I was a little jealous. I wanted to see what Jack was seeing. Knowing that I wasn't getting the full implant made me angry for some reason. I know I didn't want the damn thing in the first place, but seeing Jack's excitement made me want it badly. Sad. I am so sad. It took some time for us to make our way to the Sallyport. Once we arrived, we found the flitter, as Isaac called it, and made our way back to the hangar area. The trip was as amazing as the first time through. The sky was pink, orange, and red. As the sun rose above the horizon, puffy clouds radiating the same bright colors as the sky lazily drifted past, casting long shadows across the plain. I saw more of those large bird-like creatures climbing thermals high into the air. Once again, I found myself in total disbelief at the realism of the scene. If I didn't know better, I'd have thought everything before me was as real as I was. Keynesian holographic technology was breathtaking. Isaac expertly piloted the flitter through the same large doors we passed yesterday. This time, however, the vast space of the docking bay was filled with activity. Just about every ship was teeming with Keynesians crawling all over them, getting the ships ready for departure. Even the larger ships were humming with activity, with windows illuminated, internal bays wide open and flooding the space with light. Cargo was furiously loaded, locked down, and secured. It seemed an endless supply of stuff was being brought in and stuffed into the waiting ships. There were dozens of similar flitters as ours, flying about like flies above a rotting carcass. It was a wonder none of them crashed. As Isaac brought us in for our final approach, I could clearly see the Puffin sitting on its landing pad bathed in light. The pad had already rolled the Puffin out from its storage rack, and Keynesians were all around it, preparing the ship for takeoff. Equipment of all kind was plugged into the Puffin via hoses and wires. Some of these hoses leaked white mist into the air, but none of the Keynesians seemed too worried about it. Isaac landed the flitter just outside of the Puffin's loading ramp. Jack and I climbed out and headed for the Puffin.
"This is it, bro. You ready?"
asked Jack as we neared the open ramp.
No, I'm not ready.
I truly wasn't. I was worried. Terribly worried. I had a growing fear about the whole thing, and seeing the Puffin made my fear all the more potent. Jack was right. This really was it. I knew if I boarded that ship there would be no turning back. Whatever lay ahead of us, we were going straight in, full bore. Jack would see to that. I had no clue what we were going to see, or do, or run from. I was worried about my own mortality and the future of the human race. It was crazy to think all those people above us had no idea what was coming, or what Jack and I were about to attempt. I still didn't think we were able to do a damn thing to stop the Droll attack, but we had hope. We had hope because we had absolutely nothing else to go on. When people are desperate enough, they'll do anything. Jack and I were that anything. We were the Hail Mary or the Last Stand. We were the ones every living thing on Earth were counting on, whether they knew it or not. I've never felt pressure like this in all my life. It left me sick and terrified. Jack seemed positively gleeful, but not I, not even close. I simply had a bad feeling about it all.
"Come on, dude. What more could you ask for? We're about to go places and see things no one else has ever dreamed of. Don't you find that exciting?"
No, I find it scary, and I really, really don't want to go. But I don't have a choice, do I?
Nope.
Yeah, I thought so. You know, Jack, this is going to be a whole lot harder than Hell was. At least in Hell we could fight. We knew who the enemy was and how to fight them. Here, I don't even know who the enemy really is or where to go to fight them. I just have a bad feeling about all of it, dude.
Stop worrying, bro. We got this.
Jack slapped my back as we walked up the Puffin's ramp and onto the cargo bay. Jack's monstrosity of a truck was still locked down in its cradle, and the truck's bed was still stuffed with our now slightly used camping gear. I also noticed 2 flitters locked down next to Jack's truck, as well as tracks and racks of cargo containers, tied down all around the bay.
The Droll won't know what hit him, bro.
I admire your spirit, dude, but considering the fact that a 2-billion-year-old spacefaring civilization is getting its collective ass kicked by the Droll, seems to disagree with you. As we walked past the truck and flitters, I saw Lucy and Richard busy stowing away the last of the new gear. Lucy smiled and waved at me, while Richard did his best to pretend Jack and I were invisible, or at least an unstable gaseous form.
That's what I want them to think, dude. Let the Droll believe they're unopposed. They'll let their guard down and bam, we go in and cut the head off.
Jack was smiling at his own genius. Me, well, I just wanted to run and hide somewhere. I doubt it'll be that easy, bro.
It'll probably be a lot of screaming, running, hiding, more screaming, more running, etc., etc., etc.
Dude, stop being so pessimistic. Spartacus stood up to Rome, and look how well he did.
Dude, Spartacus died at the hands of Rome.
Well, yeah, but up until that point he did pretty good.
You're not helping, bro.
Just do what you do. It'll be fine, you'll see. Have I ever let you down? Asked Jack.
I thought about Jack's question for a second. Damn it, he was right. Despite all of Jack's raw stupidity and ego, he did indeed deliver on his promises. Honestly, I had no idea how he managed to pull it off, but he always seemed to do so. Perhaps it was that magical thing he possessed that made people love him, or the fact that Jack had never known failure, ever. Whatever the case, Jack always delivered. I was simply afraid of the first time he didn't. I hope you're right, Jack. All of humanity is counting on us, I said meekly.
I know. We'll find a way, I promise you, bro. We will find a way. Just try to keep an open mind about it all.
We approached Lucy and Richard. They were finishing up loading the last few crates into the tie-down racks. Lucy wiped the sweat off her brow and turned to face Jack and I. Andrew, feeling any better? I'm so sorry for not being there when you woke up. I was ordered to help get the puffin ready for flight. She looked tired, haggard, worn out and sweaty. Despite all this, she still looked beautiful and indomitably cute. I could feel my neck and face getting red with desperate embarrassment.
I'm feeling okay, I guess. How are you?
How are you? God, Andy. You're such a dumbass sometimes. Tired but excited. Lizzie looked at me and a smile began to creep across her face, as if she could sense my embarrassment. We're almost finished stowing all the gear we're going to need. The Queen's engineers have delivered a special cradle for the 7 sisters once we have it aboard. It should keep the sisters safe and allow us to roll it out once we return. Apparently, the sisters is somewhat heavy. No one knows exactly how heavy it is, but I've been assured the cradle will hold the weight. Other than that, I think we're about ready to go. Well, it's great. I couldn't seem to form words when I was near Lucy. My blood felt hot and I began to sweat. Is it too warm in here? Is it just me?
For fuck's sake, get a hotel room. I feel awkward just watching you two, announced Jack.
Leave it to him to turn a bad situation into an intolerable one. All I wanted to do was crawl away and find a nice dark hole to hide in.
I think I'd better go and find where the bathrooms are, finished Jack.
He had this stupid grin on his face again. What? I exclaimed. I quickly looked to Lucy and loosened the shirt collar around my neck. No, I was just going to say bedrooms. I need to change my clothes.
Sure you do, giggled Jack. Do you need some candles and hand lotion while you're in the bedroom? Maybe some romantic music?
Jack! I said between clenched teeth, and I flashed him a look that screamed, "Not now, you asshole!" Dude, I don't want to wear this tux anymore. I want to change clothes. My eyes pleaded with him to stop this madness now.
Want me to fetch you some pillows, maybe a blanket for you to lay on? How about a cigarette and a wet nap for you to finish? Man's got to be comfortable, you know.
Dude, just stop it! Just stop! You're trying to embarrass me and it's not going to work. I was emphatic, stoic, and rock solid on this point, and entirely full of it. But I had to say something. Lizzie was standing right next to me.
Trying to, ha! You do all the work for me, bro. I just nudge you a bit.
He still sported that insufferable grin of his.
Seriously though, if you're going to, just be quick about it. We've got to launch soon. So don't dream up any elaborate romantic scenarios and just get right to it.
Screw you, Jack. I'm going to find the staterooms to change my clothes. I stormed off in the direction of the Puffin's elevator.
Give a hoot, don't pollute. Wash your hands when you're finished, bro. We all gotta live on this ship.
Jack shouts after me, continuing the abuse as I entered the elevator. I asked Isaac to take me to my stateroom. As the door slides shut, I still hear Jack yelling. Isaac led me to my stateroom, which I discovered was amazingly small. The room was obviously built with a single occupant in mind. The bed was a single, at least by Kensian standards, and was closed off on 3 sides by shelves and stow hooks. I saw a fold-away desk below the room's single window. That was it. It was utilitarian by any standard and a far cry from the rooms we had in the palace. Those were large and luxurious. The puffin state rooms were the polar opposite, small, cramped, and more cramped on top of that, with a side of tiny, just to be sure no one was left out. Isaac explained how the room worked, and I soon had my tux off and a new uniform on. The fitment was perfect, and felt light and stretchy where I needed it to be. Isaac explained it was the standard Kensian fleet uniform. It was mostly white and blue stripes on the arms, sides, and legs. I asked Isaac why it fit so well, considering it was of Kensian design and use. He told me how the ship's nanite replicating systems, which could build just about anything, had reduced the uniform to fit my body. Even the black boots fit like a charm. I found a thin mirror squeezed between the bed and door. I checked my reflection and was quite surprised at how well I looked. The uniform hugged my frame like a second skin. I looked damn good, if I do say so myself, I thought. I wanted to see Liz's reaction when she saw me in this. This idea caused my heart to flutter. After my wardrobe change, I decided to go and help where I could. Despite my worry and fear, I wanted to get on with this. It wasn't because I was growing more and more brave. It was mainly because I wanted to go home and restart my boring life. All this excitement was giving me indigestion. Isaac led me to the hologram room, or what he called the command and control deck, located just before the cockpit. I mentioned they really should do better in naming things as doors swished aside. Unlike before, the room was brightly lit this time. The center dais was projecting the surrounding docking bay in unbelievable resolution. Richard, Harry, Cecil, Jan, Larry, and Jack were already in the room discussing something when I entered. I noticed they were all fitted with the same uniforms as well. As soon as I set foot inside, everyone stopped their conversation and looked to me. Kate's small Cecil was silent as usual. Richard huffed and turned away to fiddle with something complicated. Harry, Jen, and Lucy all seemed impressed with my new uniform, especially Lucy. I noticed the girls couldn't keep her eyes off me. The rigid walls of embarrassment closed in on me once more. Jack quickly pulled me aside. "Dude, you look great in that uniform, buddy. Lucy likes it too, you know." He motioned over to the girls. Jen had her back to me, but Lucy kept stealing looks of me over Jen's shoulder. When she saw Jack and I looking at her, she smiled and resumed listening to Jen. "Thanks, bro. First nice thing you've sent to me since we've been on our camping trip."
"Yeah, I know. Just messing with you, dude. You know how it is. Anyway, we're about to leave. Everyone is making sure the puffin is ready for liftoff. You good to go?"
"I think so. Everything I own out here is still in the back of your damn truck, so yeah, I'm ready."
"Good. We're just waiting on the word from the ground crew, then we're gone."
Did Jack ever not have a goofy grin on his face? I bet he slept with that grin too, the prick. "Everyone, I believe we are ready for launch," said Isaac. I still wasn't used to hearing his voice inside my head. "If you would please move to the cockpit and strap yourselves in, we will be lifting off in less than 2 minutes.
"Come on, Chewie, that means us," said Jack as he passed into the cockpit.
"The sape,"
replied Richard under his breath, but still followed Jack.
"We're going on an adventure, Richard," cried Harry.
"Adventure! Yay! I love adventures. They're my favorite."
Richard moaned as the two of them left the map room. Next, Jan and Gay Small Cecil left the map room for the cockpit as well. That left only Lucy and I. I briefly wondered how the fabric of this new uniform would handle the copious amounts of human sweat I was unleashing at the moment. You look really nice in your new uniform, Andrew," said Lucy. Thank you. You too."
"Well said, you dimwit." "You too? Christ, focus!"
"Thanks." It was obvious Lucy shared my shyness, although it didn't seem to be as acute as mine. Her eyes were locked onto my eyes, though. I looked deeply into hers and nearly fell into them. My God, this girl was so amazingly cute. Every inch of her was sheer beauty. I wanted to reach out and envelop her into my arms forever. My stomach did a series of terrible flip-flops, and as soon as I felt I were about to throw up, "Well, I guess we'd better—" Before I could finish, Jack stuck his head out through the cockpit door.
"Hey, hurry up, you two lovebirds. We gotta skedaddle. Leave kissy time for later."
Lucy smiled and chuckled. I closed my eyes and silently cursed Jack for all I was worth. "He's right," said Lucy, still staring directly into my eyes. "We'd better go." Her accent was intoxicating. Don't want to be late, right? Yeah, I suppose so. I think, you're stammering, Andy. Stop it. Yeah, we should go in. Lucy smiled and reached for my hand. My body instantly went rigid with fright at her soft touch. She led me through the door and into the cockpit. It was a totally amazing feat my legs still worked, considering I had absolutely no control over them whatsoever. She led me to the second row of seats. I sat in the closest empty seat, and she took the next one over. The seats were only a foot or so apart, so as I finished with the safety straps, Lucy took my hand. She smiled at me again and squeezed. Me? I was too worried my river of hand sweat would gross her out, but I let her hold my hand anyway. At this moment, the world was entirely her. Nothing else existed except for Lucy and I holding hands. My heart pounded inside my chest, which caused my neck and face to redden badly. I found it almost impossible to breathe and became a little lightheaded. I focused on her eyes again, those beautiful eyes. We have been cleared for liftoff. Stand by for systems power-up, said Isaac. Systems are all in the green. I am engaging the gravimetric drive now. There was a metallic clunking noise far below us, and the ship began to vibrate softly. I felt a brief moment being pulled in different directions. Then the puffin began to slowly lift off the landing pad. There was a deep metallic grinding noise, then a loud thump. Landing gear is up. We have permission to clear the area, proceeding to exit point B12. Please stand by. Thank you for helping us, Andrew, said Lucy. She never took her eyes off me, and I couldn't take my eyes off hers. Retrieving the Seven Sisters will go a long way to help us revive our fleet in time. Oh, no problem. I don't mind helping. Helping. I was a friggin' lost puppy. Lucy simply smiled, like someone would smile at a natural-born imbecile doing something completely imbecilic, or, as we say in the South, bless his little heart. Stand by, said Isaac suddenly. We have been ordered to return to our landing pad. What? Why? Said Cecil, obviously surprised. We are to pick up an additional passenger, replied Isaac. Who? Asked Richard. The Queen has ordered Dr. Bella to accompany us. We are returning to retrieve her and her belongings. Once she is on board, we are to resume our flight. It only took a few seconds to return to our pad. Dr. Bella was standing to the side of the pad when we arrived. She had a mountain of stuff with her, all packed onto a floating dolly. 2 Kansians were standing alongside her, helping with the heap. Why would the Queen order Dr. Bella to come with us, I asked. Probably because of your implant. You humans can't even get that right. Watch it, Chewie, replied Jack. You only have one left. It only took a few moments to land and retrieve the doctor. Isaac had the ship airborne in less than a minute. Lucy and Jen left the cockpit to help Dr. Bella to her quarters and find a room for all her gear. There was some concern about her personal AI, Helen. Isaac flat-out refused to allow Helen to access the ship's systems and networks. Apparently AIs had no problem interacting with people, but when it came to living with a fellow AI, well, let's just say it wasn't a pretty sight. As remarkably designed and built as they were, AIs tended to act like a pack of unruly 4-year-olds when forced to live together. I didn't know if this was a built-in safety feature, or just an unfortunate side effect of artificial intelligence. Either way, it was entertaining to hear Isaac de-evolve into something on the order of a vindictive house cat. Leaving the Kansian base was pretty much the reverse of our flight in. Within minutes we had cleared the abandoned factory entryway and headed out toward orbit. Once we reached open space, Isaac announced the location of the Seven Sisters. Our target solar system is a star called 51 Pegasi, located within the Pegasus constellation 50, 1 light-year from the Earth's Sol system. Estimated jump time is 3.31 days. The Pegasi system consists of 2 planets and a single star similar in size and mass as Sol Prime. The first planet, or Planet B, is a gas giant which orbits around the Pegasi within Mercury's standard orbit. In other words, it is a hot Jupiter-class planet, much too close to Pegasi Prime to warrant colonization. Planet C, or Tomorrow, is a rocky planet slightly larger in mass than Earth. Tomorrow is located within the center of the host star's habitable zone, approximately 1.6 astronomical units from Pegasi Prime. Time to orbit around Pegasi Prime is roughly 2 Earth standard years. Age of 51 Pegasi is approximately 8 billion years Earth standard. As Isaac spoke, a hologram of Tomorrow appeared before us. It looked like Mars in many respects, except instead of red, Tomorrow was more of a light tan color with streaks of dark brown and black dotted across the surface. I could also distinguish several large impact craters as well. The planet looked dead, with endless deserts and canyons stretching across the entire surface. Even though the projected hologram of Tomorrow was small, I could still spot areas which looked like dried-up oceans, rivers, and tributaries. Isaac, did Tomorrow have liquid water at some time? I can see dried-up riverbeds and such. Indeed, anti-human, spot on. History of Tomorrow is sketchy at best, but our earliest records indicate the world was indeed habitable. It was a living planet at some time in the distant past. We do not know the reason Tomorrow died, but all evidence suggests some sort of war or confrontation with an unknown race. Tomorrow was inhabited, and evidence at the surface and subsurface shows signs of habitation on large scales. Current theory, backed up by known evidence, suggests an old, highly intelligent species once called Tomorrow home. Either a separate alien species or some sort of political or religious infighting led to conflict, and the planet's eventual demise. See those impact craters? They are concentrated on areas of previous large-scale habitations, which leads to the suggestion of a war of total destruction. Those craters are not random. They are precisely placed, regardless. All of this happened billions of years ago.
So you're saying the Seven Sisters was built by these dead aliens? Asked Jack.
That is what the evidence suggests, Jack Human. Current galactic technology cannot approach the technological level of Seven Sisters. Its construction and material makeup are unknown to us. We only know the artifact can increase power output by orders of magnitude. This device could theoretically boost the energy output of, say, a normal flashlight to that of a supernova within seconds. This artifact seems to disregard the fundamentals of physics. I can see why the Kensies wanted to keep it a secret. Whoever possesses the sisters could dominate the universe around them, I said in awe. Indeed, anti-human, that assumption is correct. But why didn't the Kensians use the sisters to stop the Dral invasion, I asked. There are many different opinions on this point, but the histories state the Dral invasion fleets gave no warning or indication of their approach, which is quite typical of their attack strategy. The Dral attacked every Kensian planet outpost and colony all at once, giving the Kensians no chance to react or defend themselves. Kensians are a warrior race, which is why they are survivors. Most galactic races that have faced the Dral have not survived and gone extinct. Currently, there are over 860 galactic races which no longer exist because of the Dral.
My God,
gasped Jack.
That many? I had no idea.
Indeed, Jack Human, the Dral seem determined to destroy all life from this galaxy.
And the Chewbacca's only wanted to use the sisters as an engine starter for their ships?
Jack's statement was dripping with contempt.
That's fucking stupid.
You will watch your tongue, human, growled Cecil. The Seven Sisters of our most beloved and revered holy relic. You will show respect.
I do give respect to your relic, but not using it to save your lives is just stupid.
We do not see the Sisters as a device of destruction. We see it as a power for belief, for faith. Would you use your holy relics as weapons? Or would you protect them as the symbols of faith they are? Kensians see the Seven Sisters and its effects as a gateway into the next world, not as a filthy weapon used to destroy innocent lives. To us, the Sisters is a force for life, not to be used as a weapon to take life.
Everyone was listening to the gate smile intently. Even Harry was listening. Wanting to defuse the situation before things got too heated, I decided to change the subject. Isaac, do you have information on where to find the sisters on Tomorrow? Do we have to search the entire planet? The hologram of Tomorrow zoomed in until it focused on the base of a large canyon. A red indicator appeared on what looked to be a large pile of rubble on the far side of the canyon. I couldn't see anything apparent from the hologram other than the pile of rubble. As you can see, anti-human, the sisters is located inside a temple dug into the canyon wall approximately here. The hologram then zoomed closer to the rubble pile. Just above the rock pile here is an entrance to a network of tunnels. The Seven Sisters resides within this network. The picture zoomed again to show a truly ancient carved facade, much like the runes in Petra on Earth. Except on this rune stood giant statues of Kenzian warriors, holding swords and modern weaponry, in poses which suggested they were some sort of guardians of the temple. The wall surrounding the entrance was intricately carved into wild and alien shapes. There was a Greek feel to the structure, but the vast amount of it was completely alien in nature. Obviously the temple was old, and it showed. What was once a colorful display of craftsmanship had eroded away, leaving only scarred and broken remains. The statues were cracked and missing large chunks here and there, such as their ears, snouts, ends of swords or gun barrels, and so on. Same was true of the carved wall as well. It almost looked as if a battle was fought here some time in the distant past. Damage to the structure was severe on the exterior. However, it was impossible to tell if the interior was in the same sad condition.
"So, do we go straight there now?" asked Jack. "I'm anxious to get this done."
"Not exactly. We must first make a fueling stop on Jupiter before we leave the system." "Fuel?" I asked. "I thought you guys used the, tap thing for power. Why do you need fuel?" "Simple, Andrew Human. While you are correct about the quantum tap and the power it generates, fuel is still a requirement for both the gravimetric impeller as well as the singularity drive. Both require very strong magnetic fields to operate. Hydrogen-3 is the fuel of choice for this purpose."
What?
Jack was clearly over his head. Science wasn't one of his strong points. Sports or beating the holy shit out of people were his strong points. Oh, and making my life miserable was his strongest point. Very strong point. In fact, it was his strongest point above all other strong points. He was an expert in that point, let me tell you. "Let me explain," said Isaac. Harry moaned loudly and sank deeper into his chair. "The gravimetric impeller creates strong magnetic waves, which then are converted into gravity waves by an inversion process, using high amounts of power. The singularity drive uses the same magnetic waves to generate micro-black holes in space. Since the system, or even the puffin itself, lacks the required mass to create these singularities, it uses powerful magnetic fields to warp space and time, to such an extent that a tiny black hole is created. The magnetic waves are concentrated into what we call an entry point. The process is complicated, but it works." "How does the hydrogen-3 come into this, Isaac?" I asked. I was desperately trying to keep up with all this alien technology. If I had a roll of duct tape, I'd use it to tape my head in case it exploded. Without the tape, I'd lose all the pieces. Simple, anti-human. Remember the 5 dark matter disks you aligned 2 days ago? Those disks are used as a powerful gravitational lens that compresses a beam of photons, which you humans refer to as a laser, down to a width of a single photon. This compressed beam is then fired into a reaction chamber filled with hydrogen-3 gas. The beam compresses the gas billions of times until it sheds off its electrons, which changes the hydrogen state of matter into what is called liquid metallic hydrogen. In this metallic state, the hydrogen takes on the attributes of metal. It becomes conductive and reflective. The most important of these changes is the metallic hydrogen produces immensely powerful magnetic waves. Jupiter has a very large liquid metallic hydrogen core. This results in a magnetic field beyond scale. Once the system produces these magnetic waves, they are then channeled to the various systems requiring huge magnetic power. The end result of all this is we need more fuel, which is why we're heading to Jupiter now."
Yeah, okay,"
said Jack, obviously frustrated.
"How long will this take?"
"Not long, Jack Human. I have already completed the calculations required to make a small dimensional jump to Jupiter. Once in orbit, we'll dive down into Jupiter's atmosphere to the correct altitude, where hydrogen-3 resides. The puffin's exterior collectors will scoop up enough of the gas and other gases we will need as resources until our tanks are full. This will not take long. Once we have completed this collection process, we will proceed to Tomorrow."